All right, man. Welcome back to Agree to Disagree. And if you're new, welcome to Agree to Disagree. I'm my boy Jay Lloyd, PG, Craig. We got Pops. All right, man. Before we get into the topic, we want to start off the first episode of Brian's segment, Coach's Corner. So I'm going to take you guys over to him and let's see what he got for us.
Yeah, man. So welcome to, like John said, the first episode of Coach's Corner. This is going to be a segment where we talk about whether coaches are on the hot seat, coaches are underachieving, coaches that are overachieving, or, coaches who got fired that shouldn't have gotten fired. But before I got into that, I wanted to start you guys off with somebody who I've liked and respected a lot, Terry Stotts from the Portland Trail Blazers. So he's a very, obviously, as we know, he's a very offensive-minded coach. He's a great developer of talent, obviously, with McCollum and Lillard. Obviously, they should get their credit, too, for putting their time in. But this is his ninth season. Through those 9 seasons, he's made the playoffs 7 out of 8. I'm pretty sure they're going to make the playoffs this year as well, with McCollum being hurt. He's got him in the 5th seed. Like I said, I know Lillard has a lot to do with that. And this year, they're 7th overall in offensive rating with just one main guy, so to speak, right now. They're 11th in points per game, which is not the greatest, but it's still pretty high up there with your second best scorer out for as much as he's been out. So my question to you guys, man, is he still the right fit? Because defensively, they've been terrible since he's been there. And obviously, coaches have their stigma of being a real offensive guy, defensive guy. But like I said, I know he develops teams. I know he's gotten them to play and gotten them the best out of them. But do you guys still feel he's the best fit there, especially to try to take it to that next level of contention?
I'll go first. I don't get to go first too many times, so I'm gonna enjoy this. I like him, man. I really do. But when it comes to taking him to that next level, I don't know if he's that dude, man. I think he's one of them guys that he's not gonna hurt you. He'll like he's a safe pick. But you got Damian Lillard over there, man, and that dude wants to win. And it's tough too because you're in a small market to where you don't get a lot of offensive talent that kind of comes through there. You got to kind of do everything in house. So when you're not an ideal marketplace for players to come, I think I don't want to say that. I'll say it. I don't think offensive minded should be their focus, man, because they're horrendous on defense, like really bad. But they're great on offense too. But that could be philosophy. That could be the coach. So I don't know if he's that guy to get them over that hump. I'm not gonna take anything from him. What he's done in Portland with limited talent has been amazing. And Brian, you brought up Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum and how he helped develop them. What about Nurkic and Gary Trent too, man?
All second round guys too.
Yeah. So we know he can get the job done offensively, but I'm not sure if he's he's the coach to get them over the hump, especially being where they're at and not being able to get like those key guys in the free agency. So go ahead, Jay.
I think it's a great question. I think it's more of a personnel issue than Terry Stotts. I think they're going to have to decide, are they going to take 2 steps? I won't say 2 steps. Are they going to take 1 step back to take a long-term 3 steps forward? I just think based on the personnel that they have now, it's just going to be hard for them to win. But they're entertaining and they're competitive. It reminds me, not from a team standpoint, but obviously us being LA guys. I remember when the Lakers were really good, like mid-90s. They were really good. Like they were competitive. Eddie Jones, Nick Van Exel. Like they were like really good, but they weren't championship good. So they had to make trades. They traded Eddie Jones. People got mad at. They got rid of Serge Sabalos for some other stuff. But they had to make trades they took 1 step back. You lose Nick Van Exel, who was great back there. Take 2 steps forward. I feel like Portland's in that same position. If they keep this team, they're going to be entertaining. They're going to make the playoffs every year, but they're going to have to get rid of somebody of CJ McCollum's or somebody's stature there to maybe get someone else to put around Dame that's a little more defensive oriented, but can still put that thing in the basket to make them more competitive. I feel like they're gonna be great offensively, man, but they don't have enough. And they've tried to get guys like Covington. They tried Rodney Hood. They're trying to get these guys to fit, but it's going to be so hard when you got Dame and CJ that dominate the ball, because those guys just, I feel like, don't get as comfortable in that with that team offensively.
Yeah. What, Craig?
I always say this, when it comes to replacing a coach, it's hard to replace a coach if you can't get better, if you already got a solid piece. So I'm always going to defend a coach when it comes, from that perspective. When I look at their record, though, ever since he's been there since 2012, they really only had 3 real good seasons. If you think about it, they didn't make the playoffs one year. They lost They lost in the first round for 4, and their 3 good years, they lost in the semis twice, and the conference finals once. So I think it is a mixture of maybe coaching and personnel, but like we talked about before, Dame he reminds me of Kevin Garnett. I mean, he's been so loyal to this franchise that he might not get a chip, and to tie that to the franchise, they just haven't surrounded him with enough talent to kind of to take the team over the edge. But then again, it's hard to win in the West. We talked about that window, So this is a tough one because this is one of those teams who are interesting, like you said, Jared. They may not win, but they got players you want to see. But I just don't know. You can't. Coaching can only take you so far, but you need talent to win. So I think, like you're saying, Jay, they need to make a big splash, because even if they trade CJ, they're not going to get any worse than they really are now. You know what I mean? So making a big splash and,
True.
somewhere it's like, they're going to be, middle of the road, and maybe a couple years you might make it to the conference finals. I guess my point is I kind of convinced myself, a good coach is hard to replace, but at the same time, I don't think you can make too many changes to where they're going to get worse than they have been for, since his tenure there. So it might be worth shaking it up a little bit, but they do need players as well.
Go ahead, BG. Did you want to add something?
Before possible I go. So you guys think it's just that, like an A and B coach, like he gets your team from A to B, and then obviously you bring in other people, and then some other coach is gonna, like we always talk about, Mark Jackson took the Warriors to where they're at. They got rid of him, and then obviously a whole different personnel, a whole different team. But then Steve Kerr comes in. Now he's one of the greatest coaches ever because he got them all those championships. So I think he's one of those, like, he takes you from a certain point to another, and then that's kind of it, kind of like what Craig's saying.
Go ahead, Jay.
BG, that's such a good point. That's such a good point. I don't know if they have those type of coaches anymore. I feel like when we were younger, I feel like you had a Phil Jackson. You had coaches back then who could take you to the next level. I think with the way that they stockpile talent now in the NBA, I don't know if you need those type of guys anymore. Like Frank Vogel he wasn't even coaching. He wasn't even in the NBA. And they picked him out, and he came, and he's a good coach. He's a good coach. But I think he would have been looked at before as an A to B coach too. But now he kind of came in with the Lakers, and he did something. You got Steve Nash, who had no coaching experience, and is gonna do really well. Steve Kerr had no coaching experience. So I think before the NBA would kind of do that, they would try to find guys, coaches who were seasoned to win based on the teams that they had. Now I think they flip it, and they're going to put the team together first, and then they're going to try to find someone after they've already built that team that they want. So, all right, you're just managing the team, basically, in my opinion.
No, that makes sense, Jay. Because even when I said, I don't feel he should be fired. That's not what I'm saying at all. But you made a good point. There's just not coaches out there like that no more, just because of the way the talent is. There's nothing Phil Jackson could have done against another super team. You know what I mean? Especially the way they're stacking teams up now. So that's a good point. Go ahead, Pops. Thank you for being patient, bro.
Oh, no, bro. You know, I always gotta get y'all together. You know, gotta give y'all some of this popology. Stotts is a good coach. He's a very good coach. I mean, he has it together. He has the team for what the talent that he gets. He tries to squeeze as much out of it as he can. He runs into a juggernaut. You can't fire him because who are you gonna replace him with? Greg Popovich?
Yeah.
Who you gonna replace him with? There's nobody you can replace him with. So the one mistake that I think in Portland, and I'm gonna go back because this Pops. I'm gonna go back. Portland's kind of been snake bit, per se. If you go back to, you can go back to when Bill Walton was playing. Man, they had squad. Bill Walton got hurt, done. Sam Bowie, talented, gets hurt. Sam Bowie, trust me, y'all better go Google Sam Bowie in Kentucky. You better go Google it. You
Sam Bowie, man.
You better Google it. I'm telling you, man. When he
Hey,
got
wait,
hurt,
is this the same Sam Bowie that was picked? What was he picked?
I think Sam Bowie was
Mike.
number 2.
Yeah.
Above
That was
He-
before MJ.
Right pick for them. You gotta
The
realize
pick
during
for
that
them.
time, he was the right pick for them. For them. He got hurt. Now, same thing. Greg Oden got hurt. They was never able to build. Now,
Good
with
point.
Dave,
You forgot about Brandon Roy.
Brandon Roy.
okay,
You
Brandon
forgot
Roy,
about Brandon Roy.
but they never been able to build the right piece. Okay, you got Dave.
I don't like that, man. I don't like that. I'm gonna stop you right there. I don't like that. Just because the years that they lost to the playoffs, who did they lose to that they were supposed to beat? When Portland's eliminated in the playoffs, who did they lose to that they were supposed to beat?
That they were supposed to be.
Yeah, the Dame and CJ McCollum era. Like, who were they supposed to be and they lost to?
That's,
They ain't supposed to, they ain't supposed to win none of those matches, man. On
Well,
paper,
well,
like they're not supposed to win none of those matches.
But
Can I-
here again, you putting the you got okay right now. You got Dame and CJ, probably one of the best backcourts in the league. What's their third piece? They had to go get Carmelo Anthony, and that was because the Dame said that's what they went to go get. But that's what Stotts have to deal with. The center is always hurt. They don't have that third. They don't have Dame, CJ, and Joel Embiid. That'll be a different story. They never get. Dame has not got that piece. Stotts have not got. Rick Carlisle going through the same thing right now. Because you don't have that piece. Right now, Terry Stotts look like a poor man's Dale Harris. Because he's going to get you there. They're going to go to the playoffs, and they're going to lose. The coaches are not around anymore. And let's just go and call the elephant in the room. The players are not out there like that no more, man. There's nobody. If you want to say we're going to put CJ on the trade block right now, who are you going to get?
For who?
If we put CJ on the trade block, who can they go get that's going to put them over the hump? Nobody. Because nobody in the league is really like that anymore.
But I think Jay made a good point though, man. They don't need a guy that's gonna put up 25, 30. They need a defensive guy, Pop. They need a defensive presence. So they don't need a superstar, bro. They have no problem putting the ball in the basket.
Okay. All right. Who can they get to give them a presence right now? Nobody. The league is that weak, man. Ain't nobody blocking down no in the middle no more like that. The league is that. Who can they get? Who can they trade for right now? It's okay, we got Dame, CJ, and we're gonna get this guy to blow up the middle or whatever. Who can they get? On 3-and-D? Who can they get?
Jeremy
There's
Grant.
those person not out there.
Jeremy Grant.
I don't think it's that, man. I just think at the end of the day, like it's been for the last 4 or 5 years for them, they're always gonna run into a team that just has more. They're gonna run into the Lakers, Anthony Davis and LeBron James. They're gonna run into the Golden State, Warriors when they had Steph, KD, and Clay. Like they always run into someone. So it don't matter who they. It don't really matter who they get. They're always losing to someone with more.
You don't have nobody.
Just,
Look what you just
that's
said.
what
Go ahead,
I mean. I feel like franchise aren't as patient. I was dead serious. Like you look at someone like a Jeremy Grant. Denver has not been the same since they lost Jeremy Grant.
Facts.
He's not a franchise player, but he's a piece that if you put him with other good pieces, he can give you 18, 19, or 20 and defend. Could you trade a CJ McCollum for Jeremy Grant? Yeah. People would say, man, that's crazy. But he could fit that role of a guy that could guard LeBron, that could guard Giannis, that could give Kawhi and them. He can guard him. He can contain them and still give you buckets. Well, right now, they can't guard anybody because CJ and Dame, like, that's not really Dame's responsibility. He needs 2 or 3 other guys that could put the ball in the basket and could defend. He has none of them guys right now.
Facts.
Like they went trying to get Jones from Miami, but I feel like Jones was a culture thing. He fit Miami's system better.
That was
He
good.
ain't done that.
That was good.
Portland. Yeah, like
And Covington underachieved this season.
yeah. Houston, same thing though. System.
Yeah, that's true.
So you don't have guys, and listen, I hate this. There are not guys in the league that are like that anymore. They just not. You can't. They're just not, man. I mean, when you really look at the 80s and saw the starting 5 of each team in the 80s, you'd be like, man, what do we have? Nothing. Them dudes was rolling players out there like, okay, man, you don't have that. There's nobody in the league when you see a dude come out there to go like, hey man, he's a problem. They don't have that. The Dame don't have a piece. And that's why Dame is trying to be loyal and go, all right, man, I'm trying to deal with this thing. Find Terry Stotts if you want to, and I guarantee you Dame out of there. He'll be like, I'm out. Because there's nothing you can build. You can't, you gotta go like, what pieces do he need? What do Dame need to put them over the hump?
I think Jay said it best, man. Like those type of players, those Jeremy Grants type of players, guys that can put the ball in the basket and play D. They ain't gotta average 25 pops. They ain't gotta average 25.
Okay, other than Gary Grant, name me another person. There isn't one.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead, Craig.
We gotta go.
But it's not because there's not guys out there. It's looking for a fit. It's thinking about a fit. I'll think of one. Go ahead, Craig.
No, when I think about it, he's a good coach, and like I said, he's hard to replace. But with the talent they give him, I think they give him a longer leash because they know it's harder to win. And I'm looking at the stats right here. You got Jones, Nurkic, and Covington. All them dudes average under 10 points a game, which we talked about before. It puts too much pressure on the backcourt to put up 60 points to win a game. Now, it's just crazy. So I'm just hoping that the franchise is realistic about. I mean, good luck if you try to get rid of them. I mean, the only person I think that's doing something is just Thibodeau in New York, because everybody didn't expect him to overachieve. But
Coach of the year. Yeah,
but also too, it's two different. It's two things as well. You have to have a coach that the team buys in, and you got to have chemistry. Because even if you don't like your coach, eventually if you start winning, you're gonna buy in. And then if you have chemistry out the bat, that always at least get you moving in the right direction.
So Jay, I have a question. So we all know how good Thibodeau is on defense and the effect he has on defense, right? Now, not saying they win. Are they different if he coaches Portland and let's just say they all buy into it? Like they all buy into defensively, like from Dame to Nurkic, like they're like let's say Melo out there moving his feet. You know what I mean? If that team buys into defense, how much dangerous are there? Because they don't play no D, but they could put the ball in the basket.
I think they'll be better defensively for sure. But I do think Thibodeau, and I think y'all agree with me, he's a smart dude. I think he's very aware of the roster
And where he
that
goes.
he has before he goes.
Yeah.
Elfrid Payton, I forgot the other dude that plays deep with the Knicks. Like he knew he had those type of dudes that fit the way he wants to play. He's not gonna go get a situation most times. I feel like because he has that type of clout. I'll just wait my turn, bro, until I see a team that fits the type of style of play that I want. I do feel, to answer your question though, that Portland would be better, but I do feel like he would probably ask them to get some pieces to that fit his style of coaching. I don't think that team would fit his style of coaching. I do think Dame will buy in though for sure because they want to win. But you can't expect there to be a defensive stopper because that ain't Dame.
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
that's what I'm saying. You got to get to do. There's a piece. Now, hypothetically, you mean to tell me, I don't care if he's having 25 or 30. You mean to tell me a Dame and CJ McCullough and a Cat in Minnesota would not be a problem for somebody?
So let me go back to your era because I know BG got to go. But this is what I think about. Who BG and Coach John gonna laugh, but Craig gonna know. Who was better, Byron Scott or Norm Nixon?
Norm Nixon.
Okay, so but who was a better fit for the wait? Who was a better fit for the Lakers though?
Byron, yeah.
Byron Scott. That's why they made the trade.
CJ McCollum is probably gonna be a better individual player than someone they go get. But who would be the better fit? Byron Scott was not Norm Nixon at all. But they're not winning championships if they kept Norm Nixon because Magic Johnson would have been Magic if you don't get Byron Scott.
CJ doesn't compliment Dame.
No, he's just that good.
Yeah.
CJ's just that good that you make it work. But if you look at their games, Dame has to almost take a step back like, all right, CJ, you go. All right, Dame, you go. Like, it's not supposed to work like that. If you got a group, like they got to be taking turns. It's supposed to be able to fit, but they play very similar. They both do a bunch of stuff off the dribble. CJ creates off the dribble better, Dame shoots better, but they both are exceptional. But they can't, it's one ball. So if you get CJ McCullough in a situation where he got more touch with another team, but in return, you get some more defensive guys that can play and space the floor with Dame.
Go ahead, B.
Yeah, I mean, and to bring it in, man, it's like I think there's certain franchises, and I think Pops alluded to a little bit. There's certain franchises that just know, and they're realistic, they're not going to win championships. So I think some coaches know that and stay and take the job and be like, well, I'll be here like a Terry Stotts. I'll be here for a decade. I'll do my best with what I got. But I know that the management is going to back me up because I know they just want to fill the seats. Obviously, with COVID, there's nobody there. But I know there's certain franchises that you go there, you got to win. I don't think people say you got to go to the Trailblazers and you got to win, right? Like it's like, yeah, you could be competitive, like Craig said, but as long as you're filling the seats and you're entertaining and you got guys like CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard, like I think coaches want that. Like, okay, cool. Like I'll be here. Like, yeah, if something happens and we go to the championship, we win one, better for me. But obviously, I'm not saying he's going in that way, but I think he's a hell of a coach. I think he's really good at what he does. But I see where you guys are coming from with the talent standpoint and maybe not all being on him. So
that's big. That's spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah. So that wraps up Coach's Corner, man. That was a good one. Let us know down in the comments what you guys think, man. If you're watching this is Agree to Disagree. I'm my boy Jay Lloyd, PG, Craig, Pops, and I'm John. Until next time, man. We out.